Hi, welcome to Ken's Games Collection, and today I want to talk about how many games I completed over the course of 2020. So over the course of 2020, I actually completed 15 games, which for me is a massive achievement. It's been a long time since I've completed that many games, and for me to look back on this list of games that I completed, there's a lot of Switch stuff in here, there's some PS4 stuff here as well, but it's interesting the first two games I completed for 2020, and I'll get to that after I talk about them. So the first game I actually defeated for 2020 was actually Wonderboy, The Dragon's Trap. I started playing this when it came out originally. I probably got halfway through it. I put it down. I never went back to it. And the beginning of 2020, I guess I picked it up for some reason. I think I watched a video by Happy Console Gamer talking about some Wonderboy games. So I thought, man, I gotta go back to it. So I did. And I was only like 3 or 4 hours away from completing it. And I did complete it. So look, this is the very first game I ever played on the Master System. The very first game I ever completed on the Master System. And to think that I started off 2020 going back to this game and completing it. To me, that was something special. And it was a great remake of what is a classic game on the Sega Master System. I absolutely love this game so much. Now, which is interesting because the next game, I was on the Nintendo eShop back in January, I think it was. Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, it was in January, and I come across this next game, and I was thinking, should I get it? Because I knew what it was and how long it took for me to complete originally. But I did take a chance with Phantasy Star. What I found different with this game was that the developers actually, I guess, wimped it down, I guess you could say, sort of dumbed it up for modern day gamers. Look, when we first got this game back all those years ago, 30 years ago plus, it was one of the hardest games you could ever play. Random boss battles, you had to spend so much time leveling up, mapping out all the dungeons. That's what you had to do. You had to map out all the dungeons manually. So when I did decide, okay, I'll get it, I'll see how it is. It was only like $10, I think it was, on the Nintendo eShop. And when I started going through all the options to begin the game, they did dumb it down for modern day gamers, I feel. You level up twice as fast. The currency, you got twice as much than you would normally get in the original game. And they had an auto map system, which does really help. I gotta say, I spent a lot of time back in the day sitting down with a pen and paper and mapping out every cave, every dungeon in this game. So I can understand why they did that, because I think if you give it to a modern audience now in its original form, I guess gamers wouldn't accept it now, because we're in a different era, a different time. So I can understand why they did that, and I played it through that way and made it a hell of a lot easier for me to play and complete. And it was very hard for me to put this game down. I just, just going back, reminiscing of these characters and music, all of their environments, everything that I knew and loved about this series. And it's a very special game to me. And this was the second game I ever bought, second game I ever completed on the Master System. So how amazing is that? I didn't even plan this out. The first game I defeated, Wonderboy, The Dragon's Trap, and Phantasy Star. That was just like, wow, one of those wow moments, just thinking back all those years ago, 30 years ago. And then there's those two games. Brilliant stuff. Now, the next one I moved on to was also an RPG. And that's it's actually a collection of two games, the Evoland. And I gotta say, I played and finished the first one probably in about 4 hours. It's not a long game. It's a great game. It does pay homage to all those RPGs that we knew and loved back in the day, from Final Fantasy, Secret of Mana, all that sort of stuff, Dragon Quest. And what was really cool about this first game, it started out with like Game Boy graphics, and as you progress, when you get to treasure chests, it's not like opening it up to get shields, swords, armor, or money. you got upgrades for the game. Went from that Game Boy looking game to color graphics, to getting sound effects, getting music, upgrading from 8-bit to 16-bit, and so on and so on. I thought that was really cool with this game. And the second one, probably about 4 hours into it, I'm pretty sure I can finish it if I really sat down and played it. But I just love the whole premise of that, being able to do that sort of stuff in the first game, which was really cool. And if you find it on the eShop, definitely if you're into RPGs, into something that is unique and does go back, looking back on all those amazing RPGs back in the day, definitely give this one a go. Now the next game that I completed, I put this down, I played it, put it down so many times, and I went back to it and was only like 2 bosses away from completing Oceanhorn, the monster of Uncharted Seas. So this game really does pay homage to the Legend of Zelda games, and that's what I like so much about it. I played this back on the iPhone when it was first released. Oceanhorn 2 is on iPhone. I know it is coming to Switch and I think every other platform, and that one does look very much like Breath of the Wild, but this was a great game that does pay homage to what is an incredible Legend of Zelda series. And I got this off of limited run, which was great to have a physical copy of this one. I really want to have a physical copy of this. I loved it so much. And again, if you can pick it up too, I'm just surprised that 3 of these are RPGs, and I haven't played RPGs for a lot of years. So yeah, 3 of these games are RPGs, which to me is incredible. I just realized that. The next one, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Love this game. I never played it back on, I think it was a Game Boy Advance, whatever it was. So I went in fresh to this, and I know a lot of people were so hyped when they saw that trailer by Nintendo, and I can see why. This game doesn't really lead you by the hand. I was sort of stumbling around sometimes trying to figure out where to go, what to do next. But as far as a remake and just the whole look of this game is something special. I really liked it. I would love to see A Link to the Past get this sort of treatment for the 35th anniversary of Legend of Zelda, which is happening later in 2021, this year. So what will Nintendo give us for Legend of Zelda? But I just feel like after this one, a complete remake, a complete overhaul graphically of Link to the Past will be something special. But this is a great game. I'm so glad I was able to get the collector's edition of this one. Great game. Now the next game I completed was actually, I started playing this on the Xbox One, and it was actually an Xbox One exclusive, but then Playful decided to do a few things to improve on Super Lucky's Tale. This is new Super Lucky's Tale. So they look back at the Xbox One version and they changed a lot of things around, and to me this is a much better version of the game than what we got on the Xbox One. And actually this game has been released on Xbox One as well, but it's a great game. Lucky looks very much like Tails in this game from Sonic the Hedgehog, but it's a cute platforming game which I think anybody would love. And I just really enjoyed playing this one more on the Nintendo Switch than on the Xbox One, which again, there was a few things in it. The camera angles weren't really that great. There's more backgrounds in the Nintendo Switch version of it. Now the next game I played, I never played any of the racing games in this series, and I gotta say I got into the whole kart game series from Super Mario Kart, but I never really gave Crash Team Racing a look in at all, which is really a shame, because there is a fantastic kart racing game here that actually does rival Super Mario Kart. The tracks in this game are really cool. I just love the whole look of it on the Nintendo Switch, and I guess it would probably look even better on PlayStation 4, Xbox One. But the portability, and you can see so far all these games on the Nintendo Switch, and there it is for a reason. The portability, I'm not always stuck at my large TV. I can take the Switch anywhere I want. So I do like that sort of stuff, considering how busy I am. So great game. I was so great to be, to get this game, because I never really gave it a look back in the day. I guess because I found the Crash Bandicoot games by Naughty Dog to be really hard, and I thought maybe this was going to be a similar style, but this was done by Activision, I guess. So the next game I completed was Astral Chain. Now I believe that the developer of this game, this was their very first Nintendo Switch game, and I gotta say, they put a lot of other developers to shame with this game. This looks beautiful, looks very much like a Japanese anime. It's just seamless, and the gameplay in this is insane. There's so much stuff going on at the screen when you got your Legion, and it's just like, oh my god, how did they pull this off without any real frame rate issues, slow down? It is a fantastic game that really does need a sequel, and I'm hoping that's going to be announced in 2021. But if you haven't given the Astral Chain a go, please do. It's a brilliant game, and I just, I want to go back and replay it as the different character, because you can choose between male or female. So I want to do that. But this is an amazing game, really is. I just love that one so much. Now, next game is actually a game that I never thought we would see, and it is Streets of Rage 4. Love the Streets of Rage series all over the years. I think the first one has to be my favorite. This is my second favorite game now. The graphics in this looks great. I just wish they would have given us the option of playing it back in that 16-bit mode, which would be really cool if they did. I know there's a few things in there we can go back to that sort of thing, but the whole game in 16-bit, kind of like what they did with the Wonderboy Dragon's Trap. Press the button, you can go from modern day graphics back to the 8-bit graphics. But this was an incredible game. A couple of hours, I think about 10-12 hours to complete it. It's something that I never really thought we would see, honestly. And just like when it was announced, I just couldn't believe that we got Streets of Rage 4. Great series, great game. Will there be another one in the series? I don't know, but I think the sales warrant it, and I think the fans would love to see another one. Now, next one is actually Paw Patrol On a Roll. Now look, my daughter is so much into Paw Patrol at the moment, and I got this one for her. And I got this before she even got into Paw Patrol. I just thought maybe she would, but I didn't know how much she was going to be obsessed with Paw Patrol. So it's a great game for kids. She's a little bit too young to be able to do everything yet, but I think by the time she's maybe 4 years old or so, she's going to really, really get into this game, and we'll have to get the next Paw Patrol game, which came out in 2020 as well. Now let's go on to PlayStation 4. I did play some PlayStation 4 games. Now this one, I remember seeing it at, I think one of the E3s. I kind of didn't really think anything of it because I was kind of over it. I thought, oh, this is like another zombie game, and that could not be the furthest from the truth. The only reason I picked it up was recommendations, and it was $22 at EB Games, and that is Days Gone. Now, when I started playing this game, I wasn't really sure how I felt about the character of Deacon St. John. I was doing comparisons between the main character of Deacon, Bruiser, and his wife to Uncharted, I guess you could say. I was comparing it to that, which was something I shouldn't have done. But a couple of hours in this game, and I was really sucked into the story. I really started caring about these characters and wanting to know more about Deacon's story and where this was going, and where it went was in a great place. And I don't understand why this got mixed reviews. I really don't. When I got this game, $22, I did the download, which a patch, which I guess fixed a lot of the problems in this game. I don't know what they were, but to me, it just seemed seamless when I started playing it. To get loading, play it, I just didn't know where the loading was because it just seemed so seamless. Great game. I guess it leaves itself open for a sequel. I don't know if they would do it though, but if they did, it would be interesting to see where they go with it. Taking on the Freakers, the Horde. The Horde can be very intimidating, but I did do what I had to do to complete this game, take on those hordes, which was insane. It took me a little while to do it, but I got through it in the end. It was like I really felt like I achieved something, beating the Horde. So if you haven't played this one, please do. It's such a hidden gem, I guess you could say. Brilliant game. Now, Air Memory of Old. I had this game in the collection for maybe three years, like 3 or 4 years, I guess. And it just sat there, and I played a little bit of it, and I thought, okay, I'll go back to it and complete it. So when I started doing the finish what I started series on what games I started and hadn't finished, this was on one of my, it was on the list of doing and completing. Probably about 3.5, 4 hours, 4.5 hours, I guess you could say, to complete this game. Very easily to get all the trophies if you really want to. It's a brilliant game, short but sweet, but indie developer. The art style in this game is really cool. The flying in this game, I really enjoy the flying in this game. It's so great. So if you haven't heard of this game, check it out. It's a great recommendation. Now the next game I actually got on the PlayStation 4, but because it was on sale on the Nintendo eShop, I thought, okay, let's just get this one and just compare the two. I should have stuck to the PlayStation 4 version, but even on the Switch it's okay, and it's the game called Abzu, which is another indie game. Beautiful graphics. Love the whole visual story of this. It's very visual, and when you play it on the Nintendo Switch, it's not as good looking as the PlayStation 4 version, and I find it plays and looks better docked than in handheld mode on the Nintendo Switch. But don't let that distract you from getting it if you're on a Switch. It's still a fantastic game. It's the quality is not there because of the Nintendo Switch, but you're still going to get a brilliant game, which I really highly recommend. It's a great game. Custom case I got done by Enigma Custom Cases. So cool, because this one didn't get a physical release on the Switch. It did get a physical release on the PlayStation 4. Now, two more games to talk about, and the next one is actually Kirby Star Allies. Now, I played it when I got it, and I put it down. Now, this was one of those games which I played a few hours, and it was like it started getting a bit repetitious, it's just like this. I don't know how to describe it. It was just getting to be a point where I really was dragging on. I didn't want to complete it, but I did put it down, and I thought, okay, let's go back and see if I can complete it. And it is a bit of a crawl for me to do this. Maybe it's better to play it in multiplayer because you can play up to 4 people. I think that's what it's meant to be played, with other people playing it, like a little party game or something. And that's how I still felt. I felt it was taxing for me to really push on and get to the end, but I did. The end boss is very bizarre. It takes on so many different forms. But overall, for me, I do like the Kirby series, but yeah, this one's okay, but it was something that I really had to find the motivation, I guess you could say, to complete it. Now, the final game I completed for the year 2020, which was another game that I picked up probably in 2019, I think it was, and I think it just sat on the shelves for a long time, and I thought, okay, I need to try this game out, and when I did, I couldn't put it down, and that was Concrete Genie, which is another great game I think it's by an independent developer. The visuals in this game is really cool. The story is great. I like how halfway through the gameplay changes completely, which I thought was fresh. It didn't keep that same formula all the way through. And there's a really nice story in this game as well as you progress through it. And I thought it was it's a great game. And I don't know why. I just left it there on the shelf for a long time, but it only takes about 4.5, 5 hours to complete. Another game where you can get the trophies pretty easily, but a fantastic game. If you see it, pick it up because it's worth your time. This game probably sells about $25 now, I think, but awesome game, great visuals, and yeah, the story was touching. So that's it. 15 games I completed for the year 2020. Let's see how I go for the year 2021. I haven't played anything yet. Just been too busy with work, but I hope everybody had a safe and happy Christmas and New Year. And until next video, take care. Bye.